despite how amazing the movie Magazine Dreams is, I'm most likely never gonna see it again. This movie follows Killian Maddox, an up-and-coming bodybuilder who wants nothing more than to be known as an Olympia champion, and he won't let anything take that away from him. Killian destroys his body constantly, doing intense workouts without rest or stretching. Throughout the movie, his body is constantly failing him due to him taking steroids. Potentially faced with taking surgery to remove tumors that were growing in his liver, he denied the surgery because to him, bodybuilders don't have scars. He has an idol named Brad Vanderhorn, another famous bodybuilder who was always on the cover of magazines. They have a "Dear Slim, I wrote you but you still ain't calling" type of relationship. He has posters of him all over his wall. He writes him letters constantly trying to get Brad to notice him. His environment taught him that greatness is possible if you just work hard enough, regardless of the cost it can bring. Every time we see him work out, it's in slow, uncomfortable close-ups. We see Killian working out not only to reach towards his goal, but to also vent his frustrations. From the first couple of minutes, we learn from the scene with his therapist that he is mentally ill and that he refuses to tell anyone those emotions. His father killed his mom and himself when he was a kid, and ever since then he's been living with his grandpa. He feels like he has no one else to talk to. He constantly gets misunderstood and is easily tempered. So despite whatever mental or physical damage that bodybuilding gives him, it doesn't stop Killian from taking his shot at being an Olympic champion. But that isn't the reason why I will most likely not see this movie again. Sure, this movie is laced with despair and anguish, and the writer probably wrote this with the intent of ruining someone's day. That's still not the problem. This movie isn't a bodybuilding movie. It uses bodybuilding to explore the one thing Killian truly wants. He wants to be valued and respected. His bodybuilding is a mask for his desire to be remembered and liked by everyone. He sees the title of an Olympia champion as a title to be remembered by, constantly imagining himself on stage posing while thousands in the crowd cheer for him. There is this one major problem for Killian though. He doesn't know how to interact with people. Throughout the movie, there are many secondhand embarrassment-filled scenes of Killian trying to talk to people, but he just doesn't know how to. He apologizes to people randomly and without reason. He asks out a cashier on a date, and I am convinced that this scene is only made to make my ears bleed.
Sorry. I'm sorry to do this here at your place of employment in front of everybody, but I was just wondering, would you maybe want to go out with me sometime?
Oh.
But maybe not, because he's actually fucking Curry in disguise and actually went to date with her. This leads to their first date, and this conversation is full of moments where Killian doesn't know how to read the room. She lets him know that she is a vegan, and then he orders the fattest meat on the menu, probably ordered rare, randomly trauma dumps in the middle of the conversation, and when she still asks him questions to try to get to know him better, he goes on a monologue about his desire to be the best and how nothing will stop him from achieving it.
Do you feel like the customers at work just walk by you like you're not even there?
Sometimes, yeah, I think...
Like they think they're better than you or cooler than you or whatever?
It's really hot in here.
I'm gonna show them. I've got nationals in 10 days. I'm gonna place and get my pro card. Then I bet they won't just walk by me.
So what kind of music do you like?
I want to be Mr. Olympia one day. I won't let anything stop me from accomplishing this goal. I've been training for this competition every moment of my entire life. 2016 Grand Prix Dayton, Ohio, judge told me I had small deltoids, said they needed work. So what I do, I worked them day and night until they were perfect. No sport on the earth requires as much time, energy, and commitment. 24 hours a day. There's no days off, there's no missing meals, there's no missing sleep, there's no missing workouts. We can't do this at 90% or even 99%. Take it from me, if you're not 100%, you will never be successful. You gotta burn the boats and burn the bridges and commit all energy and focus to being the greatest bodybuilder on the entire planet. The body is not used to the 9th or 10th or 11th or 12th rep. No, you've got to go through this pain barrier and just go on and on and on and on. And it's these last 2, 3, or 4 repetitions. That's what makes the muscle grow. And that's what separates one from being a champion, one from not being a champion. This is what most people lack, the guts to just go in there and say, I don't care what happens. If I fall, I have no fear. I've thrown up many times while working out, but it doesn't matter. It's all worth it. Jump in the trenches, face the enemy. This is the most important thing I will ever do. You have to do something big and important where no one will remember you when you're dead. They're gonna put a picture of me on the cover of the magazines. And everybody will know Killian Maddox was here.
I'm sorry, I have to go to the bathroom.
Killian has a huge stutter throughout the entire film. This is the first time in the film he has a conversation without stuttering. In his mind, every time he tries to open up, he gets shut down. His date left him, his doctors are ignoring him. Every time he tries to get into a competition, he takes the criticisms to heart. He feels like he needs bodybuilding in order to prove himself that he is important. There's a montage around in the beginning of the movie where Killian watches Dorian Yates, a famous and acclaimed bodybuilder. Killian wants the fame and love that he sees Yates has on screen, so he proceeds to make a YouTube video introducing himself to the world. While recording the video, he keeps messing up his lines and having to restart his speech. No matter how much he fixes his background set or says the line in his head beforehand, he keeps on stuttering and messing up his lines. This causes him to get extremely angry at himself for not getting the line right. He puts this anger into his performance of a calm bodybuilder, future IFBB pro champion. This stress he puts on himself to get the performance right eventually makes his body start to collapse, all while the camera is still recording. This scene is Killian crying out for help. He wants to make this video to prove that he exists, that someone somewhere is listening and paying attention. He tries to keep on this persona and to showcase his knowledge about bodybuilding, but the real Killian keeps slipping out, and it causes him to have multiple angry meltdowns on camera. He uploaded the video raw still, and the comments are full of people telling him to end his life. Later on in the film, he gets fired from his job because he makes the other employees and workers uncomfortable. In a desperate attempt to keep his job, Killian says that his name will bring good publicity to the store, in which his boss replies that nobody knows who he is. This isolation is making Killian believe in other ways for people to know his name, not by legacy, but by infamy. He starts to fantasize about killing the people he feels like he's looking down upon him, that don't give him a chance of recognition. This drives him to almost kill 2 people in the movie. Thankfully, he stopped before he took a life. Nearing the end of the movie, he turns to his grandpa and just starts to cry, finally letting some of the emotions that he's been boiling up come out, and accepting that at least one person knows and loves him, his grandpa. He throws the guns and steroids away and starts to try to go after his goal in a more healthy light. This all sounds nice and bittersweet, but the ending is still filled with a sense of sadness. Killian's final monologue says that the most important thing that matters to a man is his legacy. He still fears that sense of unimportance, that no one will remember him after he's dead. The final shots show Killian posing on stage, noises of a crowd cheering, but no one besides him is in the room. Even if, despite his resolve to go this far, and if he manages to make it this far, the damage is still there. His mental scars are still there. This applause means nothing. He's still the same person from when we first saw him. Still alone, and wanting nothing more but making people remember the name
Killian Maddox.
Sorry for the absolute Debbie Downer of an intro, But this is very important to today's topic. Anxiety about your value as a human being is a time where I think everyone experiences, whether it be what you want to do for a career, an existential crisis, and not thinking that you've lived the life that you wanted to live. Multiple things can contribute to this, and it's interesting to discuss. With magazine dreams, it gave us more of a warning than a solution. So, is there a solution to this feeling of fearing that you won't be remembered?
No.
Is having this feeling a good thing, and will I start to make this video more happy? All very much interesting questions that I want to discuss. So let's talk about it. I talked about Before Your Eyes in a previous video, but since I know no one watched that shit, I'm gonna say that, but better. In this game, you play as Benjamin Bren as we traverse through his memories. He's in an afterlife type of state where he has a chance to revisit his memories in chronological order. The catch is that every time he blinks, he moves on to another memory. We get to see his life plan out. His first painting, the discovery of his love for art and music, his progression to becoming a famous painter.
That shit is ass!
Some memories are as simple as him hanging out with his mom on the beach or passing notes to his neighbor in class. Especially as a child, the memories look so full of life. But despite having the enjoyment of looking back onto those memories, they are just memories. You know that one Winnie the Pooh quote that everyone comments when they're talking about nostalgic shit? We didn't know we were making memories. We just wanted to have fun. It is low-key annoying seeing that everywhere, but Winnie's not wrong. You don't know you're making memories despite subconsciously making them every second. Every passing second of this video you're watching is a memory. The only significance to you is if the memory connects with you. Nostalgia is a hard drug based off of bittersweetness, and the FBI made crack to balance it out. It's a chance to remember things you loved doing. Watching old cartoons or playing games that you used to play kinda gives a false version of the feeling you had when you first experienced it. Because no matter how hard you try to remember or recreate that experience, you know you won't get that same feeling. Before Your Eyes gives Ben a chance to revisit his memories starting from the beginning, despite being random of where he's being dropped off at. The memories are covered in a void-like state, and it's your job to learn his memories. You get to choose whether or not to stay and watch. It could be a memory you think is forgetful or an important one, doesn't matter. The memories, despite being another person's, feel strange but calmly relatable. We see his first birthday, him playing with a toy boat in a bathtub, daydreaming outside playing around. You can probably remember a time where you were like this, a childlike state full of wonder and no worries. And in a sense for Ben, these memories don't stop. Ever since he was a child, he has a thing for music and art. He plays the piano and likes to draw. We learn that his mom, Ellie, loved being a musician herself before having Ben, the latter being that she quit in order to raise him. Ben's early interest and skill at the piano excited her. She makes sure that he played the piano a lot as a child. During this, we hear Ellie making sly comments about how he has the chance to be a real artist unlike herself. Eventually, when he is able to audition for a prestigious music school, she's happy for Ben to have this opportunity, but wishes she had the same chance so she wouldn't be working this apparently boring job. Clearly, Ellie had a passion for music, but thinks that she didn't live up to her expectations. So when Ben looks like a new piano prodigy, she encourages him to strive for greatness, one that she couldn't attain herself. Although her encouragement is with good intentions, it slowly starts to feel like she's projecting herself onto him. To make sure that Ben makes the school, she makes Ben practice for hours, even taking up time from drawing or making friends. This causes her to fight with her husband, Richard, over how they should deal in handling their son's future. Later on, the day of the audition comes. He's in the backseat of Ellie's car and is nervously waiting for the time where they'll see what his hard work is made of. Unfortunately, Ben doesn't make it into the school. The car ride back home has Ellie blaming herself, but tries to keep Ben focused on the future. One line in particular shows her mindset with her looking towards the future. The world isn't kind to people who aren't really good at something. Ellie wants Ben to be better than her. It's not a bad thing to want to. I'm sure your parents wanted you to surpass them, whether that be monetary wise or just as a better person. They want the best for you and to pursue whatever you want to do. I'm sure whenever a porn star comes out about their job, their parents hopefully jump in joy. Or they catch a mean backhand, but it doesn't matter because they still make bank, and more importantly, it's still their choice. Why did I write this in the script? After flopping at the piano audition, he turns to drawing, which was another hobby he picked up early on, but didn't have a lot of time to develop it because he was always rushing and dragging. And we get to see him develop it to amazing success, starting off small by winning a couple of awards. Then it builds up to him being accepted into art school, rejecting shady business makers and making it big as an artist. Before he reaches that stardom, Ellie dies unexpectedly due to a sickness. Before she died, she gave Ben a call to let him know to not let her sudden sickness be the reason his purpose wasn't wasted. She doesn't even want him to pick up the phone to call her. All she wants is for her Benny to reach the stars that she couldn't. However, this death obviously still hits Ben pretty hard. His life starts to fall apart as he doesn't release anything for a couple of months. He struggles to find the motivation to continue painting any longer, until he sees her old music sheets. Through this, he's able to conjure up the motivation to paint again, his latest release being about his mom. At the end of his memory highlights, we see that Benjamin is a worldwide known artist, and that he potentially secured the bag with his childhood friend Chloe after a sudden reunion. This is the type of dude that is described in the Bible, and I wish them the worst. Before we go on to the next part, I gotta explain who the fuck is this fox? This is the ferryman. He's the reason Ben revisited those memories in the first place. His role is to take whatever soul he brings out and bring it to the gatekeeper, who will then judge the worthiness of the life he's lived and decided if he's granted an entrance into paradise. If he lies or doesn't have a story worthy enough, he gets turned into a lyrebird that stays with him eternally. The ferryman is first surprised at Ben's story. He doesn't usually get a life this grand or noble. He low-key starts to glaze his life compared to the other nothing souls he's taken to the gatekeeper. He gets happy and starts to roleplay pleading Ben's case. But during him going over his life, the lyrebirds start to scream in a frenzy, screaming so loud to the point where it's louder than his words, and he tells them to go away. After this, however, his demeanor changed. Before this, he was a calm, chill, painfully unfunny, wolf-fucking entity, but now it seems like he knows something. He first starts by implying that Benjamin was hiding something from him, that he knew his story was too good to be true. He then goes on this rant about how Benjamin is trying to hide certain memories and is lying about his life. It can't be true though, right? We just saw Ben's memories front and back. But at the same time, we know that the gatekeeper is telling the truth. See, I also have been hiding something from this part of the video. Throughout Ben's memories, we occasionally get a memory that we don't get the opportunity to explore, like peeking in a crack through a window. That was a very creepy analogy, but you get the point. The vibe of the memory is the complete opposite of any other memory. It's clear that whatever this memory is, he's choosing to not think about it. After all, who said they were only good memories when looking back? Just because we're going back onto previous memories doesn't mean the bad ones go away. Benjamin lied to himself and us. The life we revisited wasn't his. Kind of. Throughout our little recap, we see all the memories that were hidden. Some of them include Ellie on the phone, realizing that she could never live up to her father's expectations, and the death of his first pet. In fact, those deaths made Ben want to do more than just exist. He wanted to find and fulfill something great. In his case, was the piano. But before he can even put his name in the hat, he got really sick. Being bedbound, his mom gives him a typewriter and asks him to write about his life and what he wants to do. He begins to write the great story of Benjamin Brin. Ellie, Richard, and Chloe all read it and seem to like the story, but Ben doesn't think that it was a great story. he thinks that the great Benjamin Bryn is the worst Bryn ever, thinking that his life was so meaningless that he just sat there and waited for his inevitable death. And why think of anything else? What has he done? All Ben did was just simply exist. It appears life didn't matter, it cut off the one thing that he had promise in. Maybe if he didn't exist to do nothing, maybe his mom would have succeeded in becoming a famous composer. With literal death lurking over his bed every day, spending his last moments alive doing nothing. It feels like he didn't even get a chance to live a grand life like he wanted to, so all he can do is dream this great life about where he became successful. Sure, not by piano, but by being an artist, spilling your heart and soul onto a canvas, and hopefully the gatekeeper would accept this fake version of him, replacing his other worthless life for something that gained purpose. Those are the last thoughts that Benjamin Bryn had before dying. Maybe not as intense, but it's close enough. It's close. Face to face with the gatekeeper, the ferryman opts to tell it the real Benjamin Bryn by showing her a memory Ben had with Ellie. She's sitting on the far side of his bed, liking the story Ben had drawn up, but not loving it because it wasn't really him. She then tells the story of the real Benjamin Bryn, the one that was raised by an ordinary mother and father and raised in an ordinary town. Despite him thinking that he didn't live enough to have a purposeful life, he always had a purposeful life. Ben still brought value and joy to the people he knew. He didn't need this grand story about a famous artist who had a meaningful life because he already lived it. There's a quote from the ferryman after looking over his memories that I absolutely love. After watching Ben's true story, he says, "I think grand stories and words are a bit overrated. Sure, Ben's fake life had more grand stuff happening, but it's okay to live a simple life that will equal or have more happiness than if he ended up living that life." So, remember when I apologized for this video being a Debbie Downer? Well, sorry again. I promise I'll try to make this video more upbeat. And to do that, I'm gonna have to embarrass myself. I have a very sorry confession to make. This past summer, I've been quote unquote, I don't wanna say this.
Just say it!
Addicted to romance and isekai anime.
Hang that nigga now! I got the rope right here!
I hope you bulletproof for this backer.
Please put the pitchforks, knives, swords, hammers, whatever fucking sharp object you have and just hear me out. I don't know, they're really good. I'll get to the actual reason why in a minute, but it has introduced me to some amazing shows that I would have never seen. Case in point, this section is about Banished from the Hero's Party. From the title, usually what you would expect from shows like these is that there's this unconfident loser that is in the top hero's party, but eventually gets kicked out for being a weak little bitch. After that, he will gain new friends, most of them being girls that want to fuck him, team up and defeat a big powerful demon lord. And usually the main power's character is garbage, like it will be having the ability to stack playing cards infinitely, but somehow they would develop it enough to beat the demon lord and shove it in the face of the hero party who wronged them. It sounds like trash, right? That's cause it is, and it's the reason why I watch it. However, that's what I intentionally said. This show actually tries to have deep and interesting characters. Incredible. And yes, it does involve a similar premise to Purpose. But instead of finding a purpose initially, we get to see what happens when purpose is pushed onto you. Usually in animes like this, the demon lord is rising up to power or already fought a kingdom in a war previous from the show and is stuck in a sort of stalemate. In this case, the demon lord Taroxen, I already know I said that wrong, has already taken down 4 countries and half a continent. Humanity is clearly being backed up against a corner. Everyone in this world is born with divine blessings, a power coming down from the Almighty that is said to grant the person strength to walk through life. This system varies in how powerful your blessing can be, and in the case of Rudy Ragnarsson, she got blessed as the hero. The status and weight of the world is now in her hands, only to ever so slightly share the burden between her party members. However, this show is called Banished from the Hero's Party. She couldn't get banished because that wouldn't make sense. So who did get banished? The adventurer who took his talents to Zoltan is the older brother of Rudy, nicknamed Red. Compared to the constant traveling and fighting monsters that almost kill him every day, Zoltan is a very small village and he collects plants in his spare time. He wasn't kicked out the party by his sister but by another member, Ares. He claims that the rest of the members have caught up to Rudy's level, and by Red being with them any longer is not only holding the team down, it's holding his sister down. Red's divine blessing is to guide the hero on their journey, but now Ares feels like he already did the job and needs to leave. Red doesn't want to leave initially, but agrees later on because he doesn't want to burden his sister. Adding salt onto the wound, he already agreed with him. He had to get saved multiple times by Rudy during their last fight, causing it to last longer. Thinking his role as a guide was over, he left and went to Zoltan. Divine blessings in this world is perceived as exactly what you think it is. A blessing given to you by God himself. These blessings are based on your personality, and it can shift that to its most extreme. Adding on that, some blessings are more hated than others, and it leads to a lot of people being more violent. Most kids are looking forward to finding out and developing their own blessing, but the only way to level up is to kill something. So blessings is basically known to pave the path for the rest of your life, to be able to relish in the glory of being a hero to the world. There's a villain in the story that has an interesting take on this. I don't really know his name, so I'm gonna call him Villain 1. Villain 1 says that a lot of people, despite receiving a blessing, aren't happy with the power they got and die in despair because of it. And in his case, he got the blessing of Master Torturer. It also tells us that this almighty being is probably 5 years old. He didn't want to have the power of Master Torturer, but the blessing changed it to where he kills most of the people he's around with. To give another chance at a blessing, he created a drug that gives you another blessing. One of the victims is Ademi. Ademi is a hot-headed child who has a punching metal for fun type of blessing. So when he starts to develop it, he becomes more and more like a dick. However, he secretly wants to be a guardsman like his dad, but felt like his blessing wasn't going to give him the status that he wanted. So he eventually took the drug, and while it did give him another blessing, it was another violent one, and the urges led him to almost killing another kid's parents. The kid in particular is named Al, and he is scared of developing his blessing in the first place because he doesn't want his personality to change like Ademi's was. Villain 1 orchestrates this little scenario where he would purposely give a drug to a kid with anger issues and tip him over to the edge. Once that was done, he would try to invoke a revolution with the people of Zoltan in the name of justice. To start it, he would give Al a chance to kill Ademi. Previously, we see Al being given a sword by a mysterious person that has bloodlust infused in it. This made Al's attribution with swords a lot more unstable. Also, you know that Ademi kind of beat him and almost killed his parents. So everything sounds like it should lead into Al killing Ademi and starting this revolution. But instead of his sword cutting Ademi down, it cut the rope binding him down. Even when his desire to cut people is apparent, he still doesn't go through with his urges. Despite being shown through his family, the kids around him, and even his own power surging through his body telling him to walk down this path, he walks the other way. Going back to the hero's party for a bit, while they were on a mission to retrieve an airplane that Terexon used, Rudy uses that ship to leave them in the middle of the desert with no explanation. Obviously, this greatly confuses the two members who were left as to why the hero suddenly abandoned her mission, as she's never done that before. Rudy has always risen to the occasion, always done what is told of her with no signs of resistance. This lack of resistance or doing anything other than being a Terminator makes it seem like she has no personality. Nothing else to want or need besides fighting the Demon Lord and becoming a hero. So imagine their surprise and disbelief when they find Rudy, the maiden with the divine blessing of a hero, savior of the entire world, living in Zoltan with the resolve that she quit. Not only that she quit being the hero, so that she can farm with a famous assassin, live next to the previous top adventurer and princess, and with the guy you kicked out from your hero's party a couple months back. As expected of them, they were furious. So furious in fact that Ares tries to murder everyone. I know I just dropped a lot of information in those last few seconds, so let's go back to see how the hero party was doing when Red left and the character of Rudy. Rudy thinks that her blessing is everything but a blessing. Her blessing gives her immense power that is unrivaled, speed faster than the eye can see, and resistance to most things. This is a huge upgrade compared to how Rudy and Red were living as kids, living in a sort of safe house with no parents. At this point, the blessing is already kicking in. When a loud lightning strike clashes outside, the kids in the house start to cry. Rudy, on the other hand, stares with a blank expression. She doesn't feel the need to sleep or eat. She can't feel refreshed or relaxed. This blessing cuts off all unnecessary emotions for what the hero needs. Just a machine only meant to sacrifice her life for the greater good. Of course, she never asked to be humanity's savior, but her blessing didn't give her a chance to want more. Her future was already determined when she was chosen. This leads to her seemingly being cold to her party members. Everyone respects Rudy out of fear or the idea of being next to the hero. We don't get to see what she wants to do or what she's feeling in the first couple episodes. It looks like she's just being quiet and reserved, but we don't know. Any other emotion she wants to have gets immediately shut down. That is, if she wasn't around her brother. Red is the only person who Rudy can open up to. The only person that she loves dearly. When she was growing up, other kids around her would not associate with her unless they needed her help because she was the hero. She had to save them. Even when she didn't want to risk her life to save someone else, the urges her blessing gives her forces her into almost getting killed time and time again. Since a couple of years old, Rudy as a person was demeaned and overshadowed by the world's expectations of a hero. But Red was always there for her, no matter what. He's her only emotional connection with humanity. She's so attached to him that when Ares broke the news that Red left the group, she immediately knew that he wouldn't leave without reason and knew that Ares had to do something with it. She then proceeds to punch a hole straight through his fucking chest. Oh god, how the fuck is he still breathing? Red has always supported her to do whatever she wants to do, but she never knew what that felt like. The only thing that she wanted to do was be like her older brother and Red. Red has the blessing of guiding the hero to the correct path, while Red's blessing is more of a freedom thing. Speaking of Red, she's the princess of the kingdom with a trash ass name and a high profile B rank adventurer. Having a warrior type blessing, it was unprecedented for the other adventurers around her to watch her quit, stay with Red, making potions and shit. By all means, with the skills they have, they should have never left their duty and settled down together. But they did anyway. When Rudy first met Red, she envied her. During the adventures they went on for a small amount of time, she saw her get closer to Red, to the point of loving him. She shows a lot of emotions whenever she wants to, and she was able to share those emotions with Red. Red and Red are the living example of what she wants to be. Not the hero, the savior of the world. She wants to find out for herself what she wants to do and not what the world wants her to do. Unsheathing the hero's mask with the weight of humanity's expectations. This is who Rudy Ragnarsson is. Initially scared with even thinking about doing anything else because isn't it inherently selfish to waste her power doing something else deemed so much worthless than being the hero? But isn't it also selfish to put the weight of the world on her shoulders without acknowledging her feelings? There are many other people who would have gladly rather step into the role and have the passion of heroism she lacks. Why did it have to be her to walk a path that she never wanted to walk? With the world seemingly wanting to go against any wishes Rudy wants, She chose to accept it despite it not being what she wants. But Red and Rick going against what is expected of them gave her that extra push to defy herself. Rudy now does whatever she wants to, not because the world wanted to or the hero wanted to, but because she wanted to. For some reason, after watching that show, I got a little upset. Not because I'm a Grinch, I swear. I obviously cared for Rudy and liked watching her find out what she wants to do with her life. It's just that feeling of being upset was more directed at me. I mentioned previously that I watched a lot of anime during summer break. I also documented every single one I've watched. Banished from the Heroes Party was the 65th show I watched this summer.
Someone get this jigaboo away from me.
I seriously fucking hated saying that out loud. This is a public video, oh my god. I could try to make the excuse that 90% of these shows are one season, 12 episodes, but that's not a good excuse. So what's the reason for me doing this? I asked myself that question a lot when I was going through this binge, and it felt like I knew the answer to why, but just quickly push it aside and watch another show. Like I was distracting myself from whatever reason I started. But Banished from the Heroes Party told me a story about a girl finding out what she wants to do with the rest of her life. When the outro rolled and the show ended, the reason clicked in my head way too late. See, it's currently summer break, and I'm going to be a senior in high school soon.
Damn!
And I've been forced to confront a thing that I hate doing. I have to think about my future and what I want to do with my life. And it's more clear now than ever that I have done nothing. Not just this summer, but in my entire life, I've done nothing. Looking back on some of the romance anime I've seen, a surprising amount of those shows deal with the main characters graduating high school, which in turn makes the characters deal with the stress of growing up and having to move out their homes for the first time. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity is a more recent series I started to explore. If you can't tell by the extremely positive response to the new season that just came out, this story is really good. I am the biggest hater ever, and I cannot stop cheesing ear to ear when I watch this show. The characters have so much personality and depth that are relatable and comforting to watch. While everyone is cheesing about the romance part of it, my personal favorite part from the manga is when the entire cast is hanging out. To give some context, in this show there are two schools. The ultra private, prestigious only girls school, and the rowdy, trash ass, no successful student raid school. A little bit dramatic in the descriptions, but that's not important. What is important, however, is that the students of those two schools do not interact with each other. Chidori doesn't really care about them that much, but Kikyo literally teaches him not to interact with those Chidori bums next door. The prejudice against those two schools is really intense. Anytime the main characters interact with girls from Kikyo, and they show the most disgusting looks I've ever seen. And in retaliation, some of the characters like Saku, who was normally nice, starts to clap back with fucked up comments of his own. The gimmick is that Rintaro and Karuko start to develop a friendship and later like each other despite them attending those different schools. At the start, they have to be very cautious to be around each other in case Karuko can get in trouble. Her best friend Subaru tries to cut off their friendship early to make sure that any consequences of their friendship wouldn't happen. Rintaro declines on the offer and proceeds to show off his gigantic fucking ass. Subaru loves Karuko so much that she will do anything for her. Even if it means doing something that will make Karuko hate her, she will do it if it can secure her happiness. But seeing how much progress those two already had and the value she had to Karuko, she starts to notice that Rintaro is actually a good person, and in turn starts to become friends with him. Rintaro then has the resolve to want to tell his friends about their friendship because he truly cherishes them and wishes they could do the same for them. When they all get together and hang out, the dynamic between them feels so warm and alive. They all care for each other and consider each other very important. They have great communication and help each other when they're feeling down or insecure, especially when the other girls from Kikyo show up and join the group. When they hang out, it's very clear they are having the time of their lives. Before then, some of them gave up on trying to make friends, thinking it was hopeless to put forth any effort, to nowadays where they wish time could just stop, endlessly living in a blissful state with the people that care for them the most. But time continues forward. Even in moments of pure joy, they still realize that this won't last forever. What will they do after high school? Some of them plan on just going to university and seeing where it'll take them. Subaru wants to be a lawyer, and others like Rintaro and Yorita are indecisive about their futures. I've seen people say that the manga fell off when they started to dive into topics like this, but I don't think so. Indulging in these topics gets to flesh out characters we don't get to see often. Rintaro's mom tries to alleviate some of the worries they have about being unsure about their futures by telling them that they don't have to gain a noble purpose to work. Sometimes you won't find jobs that you enjoy doing, and trying out other stuff might broaden your viewpoint on things you like. They've been dealing with this conflict for around 50 chapters. During this time, you see the characters you love seeing goof off playing karaoke to doing entrance exams for university or taking an internship. The time they get to see each other is getting slimmer. The happiness isn't fading by any means, but it's joined with a little bit of sadness. One character that I personally relate to is Usami. He's the friend who's always enthusiastic, always looking to have fun every day. So when the idea of moving on from high school was brought up, he always puts it off with the excuse that I'll think about it when I need to. This causes him to panic a little bit when he sees that all of his friends are starting to grow ambitions other than high school. Though his friends aren't worried because they know that he's such a good person that he'll excel in anything he wants to do. I relate to the character of Usami up until that point. My favorite memories were years ago. Some of your favorite memories might come from a young age, when nothing mattered besides having fun with your family and friends. Happiness was just a lot easier to achieve back then. And it's not like recent years have been horrible, it's just that I prefer the way I felt back then. The road to graduating high school became closer and closer. I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And as a kid, all I wanted to do was stay being a kid. I'm called childish by some of my friends, and it's mostly all because I just fuck around a lot. But for me, childish is more of a double-edged sword. All I wanted to do in high school was have the most fun I could. And that's not necessarily a bad thing to want, but because I have this need to stay being a kid, I ignored the other, more important goal, which was finding yourself. I remember laughing at TikToks that talked about tips for upcoming freshmen. They were talking about some high school years were the years where you start to find yourself and learn about your ambitions. I call bullshit, I ain't gonna lie. I was just gonna stick to my plan of having fun. And while I had fun, when the time came where I actually had to think about my future in a serious way, I had nothing to show for it. Trying to force this childlike ignorance into my life, I did things that other people will say are ignorant of me. I actively avoid all politics despite knowingly that it's crucial to learn about. When my teachers bring up the topic of what I'm going to do, I try my hardest not to think about it. This brought out a huge side of laziness. Whatever activity that involved the future came up, I would say that I would do stuff like that later and go watch YouTube. 11th grade is what most teachers say is the most important year of high school. You need to lock in on your grades, get a job, start applying for colleges, figure out the path you want to set for yourself. And I have been dodging all those topics as hard as I could, thinking that I'll eventually do it when the time comes. And now that time has come. Summer break is about to end, and I imagine it'll be far more into the future when this video comes out. I set a goal for myself to genuinely try to do college applications and think about what I wanted to do. Going off track for a little bit, one of my favorite movies ever is The Book of Life. I will always remember seeing it for the first time. It sparked a flame in me which no other movie has really done. The movie made me want to have a purpose, to do what you love and to do it with pride, and you will be remembered by it. I wanted that feeling. I wanted to be remembered. It doesn't have to be by a lot of people, but if it's just the people that I care about, it's more than enough. But I have done nothing. You have to convince the mysterious board directors why they should allow you in their school. Are you special enough to be a part of whatever fucking animal mascot they go by? Those are questions I can't answer. I was trying so hard to push the future away even though it's rapidly approaching me. It's basically like pushing on a pull-only door, only delaying the inevitable until it was too late. Pushing an only happy narrative blinded me from other emotions that I left out. This video was supposed to be a shorter video dissecting magazine dreams, yeah, I remember that. But when it came to it, I really didn't want to rewatch it because it's a seriously depressing movie. I prefer media where the characters are happy majority of the time. I don't like sad endings even if they are written well. I know that people say that the world is not sunshine and rainbows, but like, why the fuck can it? You're telling me you're gonna walk outside and see a sunshine and a rainbow and you're gonna have a frown on your face? Fucking Grinch. But also, watching Killian go through unhealthy lengths to try to be remembered and questioning his purpose made me start to think about what my purpose is. After the movie ended, all the thoughts started to come back to me. I knew I needed to get up and start thinking about my future. I knew I needed this to secure my future. I want a purpose moving forward because even as much as I hate thinking about it and even saying it right now, I can't stay childish forever. That's the reason why I watched 65 shows. Trying to bury any negative thoughts I had by shoving as much content in my face as I can. But some of these shows kept reminding me that I'm not doing anything to benefit myself. Watching shows and playing games that actively discuss this topic and how to deal with it. Yet I chose not to acknowledge it due to some stupid fucking prerequisite I made years ago. After watching Banished from the Hero's Party, funnily enough, that story caused me to stop dead in my tracks. And that came to the realization I'm talking about now. This video's entire purpose is just to vent about my frustrations with myself and my anxiety about the future. I've always been scared of the future because nothing good is guaranteed to happen to you. The reason I've been living a happy life up until this point is because of the hard work my mom and dad put in. Because of the friends that kept me happy. I never put in the hard work to even explore something that I could be interested in, something that I can put my time and energy into. But due to my stupidity, I pushed the time I had to find that out. I now know that I don't have an idea of what I want to do. Nothing interests me. There's a lot of videos where they say you can achieve anything if you put the hard work in, and I agree with that statement, but I can't recall a time where I put in hard work into anything useful. That was the mindset I had after finishing that show, and it caused me to write this video. When I was writing this section on magazine dreams, I saw the hard work Killian was putting in. Even though it was very unhealthy, but nonetheless hard work that Killian was putting in to accomplish his dream. Now I know if I say that I relate to him, I might have the cops called on me, so I wouldn't say that I relate to him more than I envied him. Because as unstable as he was, at least he had the drive to accomplish his dreams. So while writing it, I really started to think about a time where I put in hard work into something like that. After a while, I realized that I was doing it already. Kind of. The only living piece of hard work that comes out of my existence is my YouTube channel.
Fuck you! Is that all?
As hella trash as it sounds, I've spent 7 years on this channel. It was not easy getting to the point where I am now. I initially wanted to get 100 subscribers and now I am at 1,000. Almost a decade
This
later.
guy's a bum.
The videos I made that are private to the videos that are public shows my growth as a content creator. It's a little fun time capsule of myself and my hard work paying off. In my last video, I talked about reaching 1K subscribers and how I made it my goal to deliver to my viewers a small moment. I appreciate any type of content that can entertain me because it can distract me from feeling down so it can make me feel better. Although now I recognize the lengths that I did is unhealthy, I still respect it. My purpose for this channel is to give that to you. Whether it's giving you a lesson on not to be as dumb as me, to make you smile, or just to entertain you for times you want to be entertained. And over 1,000 people like it. I used to not get when YouTubers reach a milestone and they say stuff like "we did it," like their viewers helped them. But they essentially did, especially if they do this for a living. YouTube as a platform is really great at supporting people. Subscribing or liking a video pushes that creator to create more content for you to enjoy while also branching out their channel to other people who might need it. Which is why most YouTubers call their fan bases communities. I know this is sounding like subscribe to me guilt tripping, and I swear it's not. But what I am saying is that I now understand why they say we accomplished said milestone. I wouldn't have continued making content if it wasn't for people enjoying it. The best thing to look forward to after I release a video isn't how many views the video is going to have. Matter of fact, I put 100 on under 35 views. It's the comments telling me about how much they enjoyed the video. I personally don't comment ever, so when people go out of their way to tell me that my hard work resulted in them liking my video, it kind of gives me hope that maybe I can put forth effort into anything and that I will succeed in it. It makes me just feel simply proud of myself. I appreciate anyone who commented on my videos, or even people who are watching right now. I already know that this video isn't going to get any views. After all, I didn't post for 5 months and it's a topic that no one cares about. But if a person is watching up until this point, I genuinely appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I know it doesn't sound like it because I sound like a walking corpse, but seriously, you don't have to let me know if you stayed throughout my venting and weird analysis on anime. I just wanted to say that I am grateful that at least one person watched this video fully. At least my hard work can accomplish that. This also goes without saying that I also seriously appreciate my subscribers. I always smile when I look at how far I've gone from the heaping pile of dog shit I used to make. This video was supposed to be a little bit longer, but I realized that if I want to enact change, I might as well do it. So I'm going to try to look forward, no longer looking back at previous memories that made me happy. I'm going to do some college prep in the meantime and then go to bed. Thank you for watching this video. My work is done and I'll see you hopefully next month.